Shalom. All praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. Double honors to my apostles, the great millstone. And Shalom to the hopeful elect. Now this lesson will be entitled The Job Mindset. Okay? Because as believers, YAHAWASHI, as the hopeful elect, as men of the Lord willing, we are those men. Alright? We're going to be put in severe, harsh, uncomfortable situations, alright? Remember, the scriptures tell you, enter ye in at the straight gate. And you go into the word straight. It's S-T-R-A-I-T. And the word means difficulties. Alright? And then second, Ezra's also tell you, about the path that leads into the kingdom of heaven. Alright? And that narrow path is not easy. Alright? So we have to understand, in this ministry, we are put in situations, alright? Very difficult situations. And it's all to try us, right? To purify us. But we can't complain, we can't cry about it, You gotta have that mindset of Job. Now I'm starting the book of Job, chapter 1. Do a little quick overview, of what Job went through. Now this is Job chapter 1, verse 1. It says, there was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. So basically, it's telling you that Job was a righteous man. He feared YAHAWASHI. He turned away from evil. And it says, and there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. So he also had children. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of the men of the East. Now this tells you that Job was a very wealthy man. It says, and his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed the Most High in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. So Job was basically sending up burnt offerings to YAHAWASHI for his children. And it says, and there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord YAHAWASHI, and Satan came also among them, as sons of the Most High, talking about the angels. And it says, and Satan came also among them. And this tells you that Satan was also a son of the Most High, alright? He was an angel as well, right? It says, and the Lord YAHAWASHI said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord YAHAWASHI and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord YAHAWASHI said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. So basically, Satan was, roaming through the earth, seeking whom he may devour. That's his job. YAHAWASHI asked him, have you thought about his servant Job? And it says, then Satan answered the Lord YAHAWASHI and said, doth Job fear the Most High for naught? Has not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he had on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. So when YAHAWASHI asked Satan, have you considered Job? Satan was like, Lord, doesn't Job have a hedge? When you go into the word hedge, it means protection, right? When you go into Psalms chapter 34, verse 7, it tells you the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him. So Job had that hedge. He feared YAHAWASHI. And it says, but put forth thy hand now and touch all that he had, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord YAHAWASHI said unto Satan, behold, all that he had is in thy power. So basically, YAHAWASHI gave all that Job had into the hands of Satan. And it says, only upon himself put not forth thy hand, meaning, don't kill him, right? You can do whatever you want, just don't kill him. It says, so Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord YAHAWASHI. And it says, there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and not only am escaped alone to tell thee. So basically a messenger came up to Job and told him the Sabians came and stole all his oxen and his she-asses and slain the servants. And it says, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of the Most High is fallen from heaven and had burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So while one messenger telling Job that, his oxen were taken and his servants was slain, another messenger came and said the fire of the Most High came from heaven and burnt up his sheep and his servants. So all this is happening simultaneously at the same time. And it says, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and not only am escaped alone to tell thee. So Job lost his oxen, his sheep, and his camels. Right? And it says, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men. And they are dead, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Now, we go back in the beginning of the chapter, it tells you all that Job had. You know, he was rich in cattle. You know, he was a very wealthy man. He had children. So after YAHAWASHI gave Job, Satan the green light to, you know, do what he do, you know, Job lost all of that. You know, he lost his cattle, he lost his oxen, his sheep, you know, his camel, and his children. And it says, then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. It said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord YAHAWASHI gave, and the Lord YAHAWASHI had taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord YAHAWASHI. In all this Job sinned not, nor changed the Most High, nor charged the Most High foolishly. So after all this, after Job lost his riches and his children, he fell down and worshipped. And he basically said that he was born alone and he's going to die alone. All right? He came into this world with nothing. All right? And he's going to die with nothing. All right? He says the Lord YAHAWASHI gave, and the Lord YAHAWASHI had taken away. That tells you in 1 Samuel, all right, chapter 2, verse 6, verse 7, I believe. All right? The Lord bring it up and he bring it down, right? He make the poor man rich and he make the rich man poor. But regardless of what Job lost, right, he still kept the faith and he still worshiped YAHAWASHI. And as believers of YAHAWASHI, we must do the same thing, you know, because we come into a time, right, where we're going to lose it all, you know. We're going to lose everything, all right? You know, one day, you know, tomorrow we could lose someone in our family, all right? We could lose our job, we could lose our home, all right? But regardless of the situation, we must still worship YAHAWASHI, all right? And not only did Job lose all of his riches and his children, he also became sick. It tells you that in Job chapter 2. I'll go straight to it. This is Job chapter 2. I'm going to start verse 6. And the Lord YAHAWASHI said unto Satan, behold, he is in thy hand, but save his life. So went Satan from the presence of the Lord YAHAWASHI and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. You see, so Job became sick, right? From head to toe, you know. You know, Satan smote him with boils, right? But Job, he still kept the faith. He still believed in YAHAWASHI. He didn't fold, right? And this is why we should read scriptures like this, because in this walk, you know, we all go through our difficulties, right? We all, every day we're put in uncomfortable situations, but we gotta keep our integrity, right? You know, one day you might become sick, right? Be sick for weeks, a month, right? Or you'll lose a family member. As I said, you know, you'll lose a job. But regardless of all of that, we must keep our composure, right? Like what the scriptures tell you.
Shadow.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. There had no temptation taken you but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful and will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So YAHAWASHI is not going to put you in a situation that you can't handle, alright? We're all put in situations because YAHAWASHI knows that we can handle these situations, alright? YAHAWASHI knows us more than we know ourselves, alright? So we have to understand that these trials and tribulations that we face, it's all for a reason. Remember, scriptures tell you gold is tried in the fire, all right? And that fire goes into that difficulty, that adversity, all right? So we're basically being purified, all right? And even though Job lost all these things, he gained it all back. I'm gonna go to that real quick. That's Job 42. This is Job chapter 42 and verse 10. It says, and the Lord YAHAWASHI turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also, the Lord YAHAWASHI gave Job twice as much as he had before. So, we go back in Job chapter 1, it tells you all that Job had and lost, but YAHAWASHI gave him twice as much as he had before. It says, then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all that had been of his acquaintance before, and they eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him and comforted him all over, him over all the evil that the Lord YAHAWASHI had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord YAHAWASHI blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. So YAHAWASHI basically he blessed Job more than he blessed him in the beginning. Right? He got twice as he had. He got twice as much as he had before. And it says, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she asses. See, so he got twice as much. It says he had also 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he called the name of his first Jemima, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karenhapuk. Slack if I'm saying it wrong. And it says, and in all the land were no woman found so fair as the daughters of Job. So basically it's telling you that Job's daughters were beautiful, right? They were the best of the best. It says, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this lived Job 140 years, and so his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died being old and full of days. So the point is, when you read throughout the book of Job, he went through a lot of trials and tribulations. He was put in very difficult positions, right? But he endured, right? So as believers, YAHAWASHI, as a hopeful elect, we have to do the same. Scriptures tell you real quick. This Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 2, verse 10. It says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord YAHAWASHI and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? So we have to, look at the generations of old and see that no matter what, the servants of YAHAWASHI went through, YAHAWASHI didn't forsaken them, right? He didn't despise them, right? He brought them out of that situation, right? The scriptures also tell you that the things written, let me just get that real quick. This is Romans chapter 15, verse 4. It says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures may have hope. God, this is why we must read the scriptures, all right? Because, the things that was written before, all right? This is all to teach us how to move, all right? Basically, the scriptures are a blueprint, right? It's an answer for every situation you're in, all right? You have to understand that. That's why we have to apply the scriptures, pull on the armor of the Most High, all right? It tells you, Job got everything he lost twice as much, all right? And it's coming to a time where we're going to be put in that situation as well, to a high extent, right? Because this devil is coming down, he's about to come down having great wrath because his time is up, all right? And he's about to mandate this charagma, the mark of the beast, all right? And a lot of people, are going to lose a lot, all right? Especially those that believe in YAHAWASHI. But you have to look at the generations of old. You have to look at the things that was written before time, right? Whatever we lose on this side, we're gonna get 100-fold in the kingdom. Let me get that real quick. This is Mark chapter 10. In verse 30 it says, but he shall receive 100-fold. Now in this time houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and lands with persecutions, and in the world to come eternal life. See, now Job, all that he lost, he got twice as much. But in the kingdom, we're gonna get 100-fold, and we're gonna get more than ever. Basically, you're going to get 100 times 100. Alright, so you have to be prepared to lose, your house, alright, your car, your money, your parents, your siblings, alright, your wives, your children. Why? Because you're going to receive, they all going to come back, right? If you endure to the end, you lose these things, guess what? You're going to get it all back in the kingdom, all right? Just don't worry about losing anything on this side, because the things on this side is temporal, all right? Bring out one more scripture. This is James chapter 5. In verse 8 it says, be ye also patient. I'm going to the word patient means suffering. It says establish your hearts, meaning your minds. So we have to be patient and establish our mind. In Sirach, it tells you, My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, and to set thy heart, meaning your mind, aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Right? So this is the mindset we should have. Right? It says, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Yeah. And the day of the Lord is near. You know, prophecies are coming to pass. You know, we're right at the door of the kingdom of heaven being established. It says, grudge not one against another, brethren. It's like it said, grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. It says, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Come on. As I tell you in Sirach 2:10, look at the generations of old. Right? All the prophets, all the servants of the Lord were put in difficult situations. Right? Had Daniel in the lion's den. Right? I just read Job. Right? See the Apostle Paul, all the apostles, you know, were beheaded, most of them. All right? They became martyrs for the Lord. All right? It says, for example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Come on. Those that endure to the end, they good right now. Alright? And it says, ye have heard of the patience of Job, which I just read. You know, he lost it all. And he got it all back. And it says, and have seen the end of the Lord. Come, not only Job went through, you know, suffering. Our Lord YAHAWASHI went through suffering as well. You know, he was that sacrificial lamb for the nation of Israel, right? You know, he was spat on, he was punched, mocked at. You know, they beat on him, right? They pierced him, they put thorns on his head. You know, nobody on the planet went through what YAHAWASHI went through. And it says that the Lord is very pitiful and tender of mercies. But I just want to bring that out. Lord willing was edifying. Remember, we have to have that mindset of Job. You know, we have to suffer. You know, if we want to make it into the kingdom, we must suffer and endure to the end. Alright? You know, whatever is brought upon us, you gotta take cheerfully. Alright? You know, scriptures also tell you, gird up your loins like a man. Right? So we gotta be men, right? YAHAWASHI, he's dealing with men, right? So we gotta toughen up, constantly endure as good soldiers of YAHAWASHI. But with that being said, Shalom.